Hey, TikTok. You know, certain topics are very controversial. Doesn't matter what platform, whether it be here on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook, and Twitter. And, one of the things as a healthcare worker, I do not understand, depending on what state you live in, every state has its own criteria. But as a healthcare worker, certain things are against the law, meaning the use of drugs. Now, some people are going to go ahead and slam me and make their comments on my inbox and all that, or even right here in the comments after this post. That's fine. That's why we have our own opinions. But if a job that you have, the criteria is that you cannot do any drugs, whether it be THC, as we know it, cannabis, marijuana, weed, illegal opioids, meaning that you're buying the bars and certain prescriptions that were never prescribed to you, but you're taking somebody else's so you could go ahead and have an upper or lower, whatever the case may be. In healthcare, it's across the board. It doesn't even matter what state you're in that they allow THC, it still goes against us, right? We acknowledge that, at least I do, moving forward. But even if you're at a job that is not in healthcare, and you know that the rule is that you cannot be consuming or doing any type of illegal drugs, and they were to drug test you and you fail, what's going to happen? Clearly you're going to go ahead and lose your job. Why is the employee all pissed off and mad? If you knew that that's one of the criteria, you cannot be doing those things while you're working for that company, because then at any point in time they have the right to drug test you. Now, what flabbergasts me is the simple fact that when you are the sole provider, that you're the one bringing in the money, why are we making these choices? Why do we choose to test the system to see if it's not going to catch up to you? It just baffles me. We all know someone that knows someone that is going through something, and I get it. And now that we're closer to the holidays, this is not the time to be losing our jobs, period, because the economics and everything that's going down, it's not favorable for anybody. And here I am sitting in the parking lot before my workout this evening. I'm thinking to myself, as much as we want to go ahead and make bad decisions, whether it be those that do the drugs or making bad choices in other aspects, there's always consequences. There's always. And we as parents, mentors, educators, and so forth, we're the ones constantly educating other people about not to do this. But we need to make sure we're following those rules, And for those of you guys that are parents out there, and all of a sudden your kids are throwing something in your face, well, you can't tell me I can't do that if you're the one doing it. That's the kind of role model you are. I understand that we, by genre, Gen X, of course, we're like, you know what? Do as I say, not as I do. I get it. But let me tell you something. I have 4 grown adult children and 7 grandkids. And I am in a constant fight trying to continually educate my kids, and I see how they educate their kids and how they broke the vicious cycle. They actually sit down and talk, while I was one of those parents that constantly beat down my kids and reprimanded my kids, and I believed in a stern discipline, versus they have broke the cycle because they actually sit down and talk. I've noticed now that my kids are older, I can't change that. I feel like some people learn the hard way, just like a lot of you guys out there that learn the hard way. Why are we making these decisions? Why are we getting mad because somebody else wants to hold you accountable when you know very well as an adult, we're all held accountable. We're all held accountable. Whether it's in our relationships, parenting, at work, with our friends, and everything, we're held accountable. And if you're one of those people that don't want to be held accountable, then I don't know what kind of relationships you seem to want to have long term. I think it's just very sad. I don't wish this upon anybody. But on a good note, I do like the fact that the shutdown is supposedly coming to a full circle and be very favorable to a lot of people. But for those that don't favor or, are still struggling or making decisions, and then all of a sudden they're finding themselves in a struggle, and my heart goes out to you on the cool, because, let's make a wiser decision so you're not reprimanded and you're not having any losses. So you guys enjoy your Tuesday.